Hello, everybody, and welcome to it's Friday. You know what that means? It's a fundamentalist fails, and this one I have done a ton of research on. I hope you enjoy, but I want to say hello to everybody out there joining me. It's really good to see you. I really happy to be here, and this one is a rabbit hole I have fallen so far down. Um, we're gonna sort of see what happens when your critical thinking sort of um, it fails you, and when like how far down a rabbit hole people can go when they are convinced by others to ignore rationality and instead go with their feelings and their intuitions and what their sort of type one thinking, that intuitive thinking, where it can actually lead to. A lot of times in the past, I have been talking to theists or other sort of uncritical people, unskeptical people, I should say, about why we don't trust our intuition and why we don't sort of have one feeling and think that is the correct feeling or the correct decision based upon those very, very quick snap judgment feelings that occur. And this is absolutely emblematic of this. So this should be interesting, if nothing else. I found it interesting at least, so I really hope that you do find it the same. But this is about phase two. What is phase two? Well, from my perspective, it seems like a very predatory and dangerous cult. It's sort of almost cult-like in its structure, although I don't know whether it's cult-like in its behavior. I will introduce it and I'll start to put the pieces together of what I have followed, what I've tracked, and how I have gone through all of this stuff and found these people to be essentially praying and running what, for all intents and purposes, does look like some kind of scam. And I want to say hello to everybody out there because this is going to get maybe complicated, maybe not, but what's phase two? It doesn't surprise me that you haven't heard of it. I originally ran across this from August the Duck, who's a YouTuber. Just ran across one of his videos just randomly. I don't think I'm subscribed to him. I probably should be because he's actually very good. But it just sort of cropped up on my feed, and it had somebody called Mandy on Earth as this sort of weird person that came up. Now, Mandy on Earth is kind of a little bit crazy. It's I'll just show one clip of her to sort of give you an idea of, and there'll be a lot in here. I've actually got a ton of stuff to sort of show you. Give me 1 second and I will. Um, yeah, I think I've got to share the entire screen. There we go. So this is Mandy on Earth, and this is sort of later on. All of this covers probably about the entire story will cover from about 2020 onwards, roughly, and maybe going back a couple of years before that. It's kind of almost a sort of sad tale that sort of I'll show you here. But this is Mandy on Earth.
Doesn't matter how much money you make. Your threshold could 10x itself from the amount you're making or the amount you have in your bank account, however you judge it. And you could still be doing the same exact things every day, thinking that you have to keep doing them to maintain that amount of money. And that can just go on forever. That can literally just go on forever. But the decision to live in the present moment and live intuitively happens in the now. And it can happen at any moment, no matter how much money you have, no matter what your life situation is, it doesn't matter because the truth is hidden right in plain sight. The truth is that you are always in the present moment. When you think that, like, planning out the future or trying to have a schedule or a plan to get things done for a future moment You're actually creating an illusion. None of that planning is actually doing anything to change the way that things turn out. They're always going to end up the way they are because you're not actually creating any of this. Okay? It's all already created. It's all already created. You actually already did this before. So you're just becoming more aware of yourself as you go along the journey.
Okay, so this is sort of what she's going on about. This sort of, well, you're creating this, or you've already created this, and you're just in the moment going along with it. This whole idea, it verges on solipsism. Now, what's solipsism? Solipsism is the idea that you can't prove definitively anything outside yourself, kind of thing. It's kind of in the matrix, and these people, they make some videos about being in the matrix, and they touch on that. We can see the evolution of ideas as we go through our videos, and this is one of the later ones, and it's part of, as you can see, quantum wealth. And I'll sort of get into what that actually means, but a lot of it is, and Mandy on Earth's whole thing is that this is a simulation, this is a video game, you're creating this yourself. But it's kind of weird that she says it's already created by you earlier and just be in the moment, kind of thing. Now, that's not necessarily bad advice, but I'm not sure that can apply to wealth creation. And this is the problem with these people. They're applying it to wealth creation, life coaching, life skills. It's an entire philosophy based upon, well, not much, to be honest with you. Not much at all.
And there's no point that you get to where all of a sudden you're like, okay, now I can live in the present moment. You get to just decide to do that now. It's the most freeing decision in the world. And it's so crazy because the second that I did that, the money happened, all the opportunities happened, everything in my life continued to unfold regardless of the fact that I wasn't planning for it to. I had just decided, you know what? Fuck it. I want to live my life in the present moment. I just want to live in my present moment. I don't want to worry about any of this stuff anymore. I don't want to keep track of this stuff anymore. And it all unfolded. And that, my friends, is phase 2. That is the secret of the wealthy. That is the secret that's hidden right in plain sight of you every single day. But no, most of us can't see it because it's just too simple.
Okay, so Big Bad Mama makes an excellent statement here. Is it performance art scam money, or is it real culture scam money? That's the question. That's the question. So as I go backwards through this timeline of how we got to this place of a girl sitting in a car talking about how to make wealth, trying to sell, because you could see as the thing went along, it says like link is in my bio for quantum wealth, kind of thing. She's trying to sell this idea of being wealthy through living in the moment. She's trying to sell things. She's not actually wealthy. She's not actually a money-making machine or anything. She's actually in a pretty bad place as far as I can see through the videos, and I'll explain why I think that. The 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 whole idea of her making wealth is making wealth from selling phase 2, selling books, selling the seminars, selling the thing. This is how an MLM kind of works. So MLMs are multi-level marketing. They basically work on not selling a product, but rather selling entry into a sort of pyramid scheme where the more people you get on board, the more money you make. Now, whether it's structured like that or whether it is just, well, if you can sell this product, people will pay you for it, kind of thing. It's yeah. So solipsism is the idea that you can't, because everything is filtered through your senses and your mind. You can't really prove definitively that anything exists outside of your mind. Because if you are in a simulation, like think the Matrix, then all of the incoming senses, all of the stuff could be created by a computer or by a simulation or by any of this kind of stuff. The problem is that it's completely unfalsifiable, right? We can't demonstrate we're in a simulation, and we can't demonstrate we're not in a simulation. So sort of out of practicality, we kind of have to live in the world as if it was the real world, even though we can't definitively prove it's the real world. We have more evidence that the world around us is real than not, right? So it's kind of this idea is, and like any idea, unfalsifiable ideas are kind of not worth considering. So while it's interesting to think, behaving as if you are in a false world or a simulation is not conducive to a good life generally. It kind of is almost fatalistic. But that's Mandy on Earth. Now, what I want to get into is where the hell did this all start? Now, there's 3 people mainly involved in this, and I have done way more sort of looking into this than I probably should have. Here we go. So
now it's not
this.
okay.
This is the 3 people. We have Sam Rossi, we have Andre Pickens, and Mandy Little. And these seem to be the 3 main people involved in this sort of scam here. Whether it, and the reason why I call it a scam is because these people, into their backgrounds, and I'll go through each one of them one by one, into each of their backgrounds, they have no background to suggest that they have any experience with financial gains or any experience. Do note that their house or their unit, this isn't even a house. This is a unit where the kitchen is sort of adjunct to the dining room. They don't have a lot of wealth because there's 3 of them living here in a very, very modest apartment or flat or whatever you guys call it. And we can see this as we go.
And look at all the things that you don't like, but are still there, right? That's where you're burning energy.
Interesting. We just got a question in the chat from Glub Go.
What up?
Hi guys, a question that didn't make it into Mandy's inbox. If I answer someone's question like, do you have a driver's license or will you study this or that with not yet, is that burning energy too?
Well, anytime you say anything, you're using energy, right? There's, whether you're typing it or you're speaking it.
Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that they sort of give. It's very vague. It's very not really very. It's not pertinent to people's actual simulations. 10 times what, Damon? 10 times what? 10 times what? Is the volume too loud? I'm suspicious the volume's too loud. Sorry, mate. No. Okay, so solipsism and naturalism, just to sort of answer your question there, Damon. So solipsism is the idea that nothing exists outside of your mind, right? So your mind exists. You've got Descartes' sort of cognito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Solipsism is sort of saying, well, because I have to rely on my senses to prove that something is real, my senses are confirming my senses. I've got no other way except my senses to confirm them. So if you cast doubt on the senses, if you cast doubt that the senses are real, for instance, you say, hey, what if you're plugged into the matrix and your senses are just giving you this information fed to you by a computer? The only way you can confirm that is with your senses. So it's kind of this proposition that you can't 100% demonstrate that the world around you is actually real. Naturalism is the idea that only the natural world exists, that there is no supernatural things, there's no mystical things. Only things of the natural world exist. It doesn't really have anything to do with solipsism. It's more to do with sort of saying that, hey, nothing exists except the natural world. That's all we found, etc., etc. Which, there's a sort of a hard line to naturalism. I don't subscribe to a very, very strong form of naturalism, which sort of says, hey, nowhere in the universe is anything other than the natural world, because I can't 100% rule that out. But at the same time, that's all we've found. So I kind of lean towards naturalism in sort of a, yeah, it seems natural things are the only thing that exists. But I'm not 100%. I'm not really hard on naturalism because I don't know that for 100% sure. Now, these are the three people. The phase 2 seemed to be started up between Andre and Sam here. They seem to have started it off. And when we go into their backgrounds, they sort of get very, very interesting. First, I'm going to start with Andre. Because Andre, and if you look at his LinkedIn bio, he basically was a game developer. 8105 Graphics, and they developed the fighting game called Monster. No one's ever heard of this. I haven't, and nobody's ever heard of this. Wasn't very big, was pretty small. So apparently for 6 years he did that. So a YouTube content and analytics manager. So he studied trends and breaks down the stats of YouTube videos to help facilitate channel growth. Now, as I understand it, this is where his path intersected with Sam Rossi. Now, Sam was basically doing YouTube content at the time. I think he is one of those people that try to sell to up-and-coming channels like mine. I've got messages from people saying, hey, we can make your channel huge. We can make your channel big. You just have to do what we tell you, and, sort of you'll be able to grow your channel beyond your wildest expectations kind of thing. Now, so this is where he intersected with Sam. And Sam was, and we'll get into her later, doing a YouTube channel that since has been abandoned about 3 years ago. So in about 2021, when this intersectionality happened. And then he had this director of internet sales for Midas Financial Company, and we'll sort of see, because that's an actual company. It does loans for small businesses, and they seemed to be in charge of internet sales and social media, respectively. So, who is Andre Pickens? And it's kind of interesting because there is nothing in his background that would suggest any understanding of financial markets, any understanding of wealth or capital growth, any understanding of any of those things. He seems to have been one of the main people for all of this. Now, this is sort of an interview with him. And he says stuff on truth.
You being more aware of what's going on in your life, so you can make completely different decisions and start seeing which rules you have imposed on yourself. So I would start there. How do you interact with people, and how do they interact with you? If you wanted to pick one of those to start with, I would say how you interact with people.
And yes, he wears the glasses, the sunglasses, all throughout everything I've ever seen him in. He seems very reluctant to actually show his entire face. And I think this may be a way to sort of mask his identity. I don't think that this is by accident. I think that this is the origin. This man is the origin of the problem.
2 is focusing on yourself and how you feel. Some people might say it's ego that you do that. Like you have to care for others and look at others. What do you think about it?
Well, I can see their point. I can see the point where they would say that it is ego to just be concerned with yourself. But let's look at it from the other side. You're already only concerned with yourself. You may not necessarily be honest with yourself about it, but you're already concerned with yourself. Here's an example. Let's say that you are in a relationship and your partner likes something. Let's say they like a particular type of movie. They like rom-coms, right? But you don't. And you decide that you want to watch those movies with your partner because they like them. Okay. Now, you may think that you are doing that for your partner, but in truth, you're doing it for you because it's much easier to not argue or fight with them over something that you don't necessarily agree with in terms of what you like, right? So you're doing it for yourself. You are.
Yeah, which is not necessarily true. So they're sort of advocating for incredible amounts of selfishness or egocentric behavior. Basically, he's teaching people that the way to get wealthy is basically to allow people to give you things, right? So he's basically saying that you should just look after yourself and not worry about anybody else around you. This is a problem because I'll just I wish I had the thing. Hold it. Give me 1 second, and I'm gonna find.
Right, and it's like, man, can I leave? I can just save that trouble and not go.
Change your mind.
No. If I say no, the answer is because they say, yeah, just want to thing for me. I have no idea. But what I can say is just being myself. Just not good at things, And I don't want her to. Like, I don't want her to go, I'm going to do this just for you. No. Like, if you're not interested in doing
Or when did you feel that you were really...
Say that's what it was. Has quite a bit of a journey with him. I was really, she was like, the books was for her.
Yeah, so I did have this section picked out.
So it's
yeah, so basically he gives this advice kind of thing. He gives this advice that he's trying to tell people how to sort of free their lives.
When I ask people, why do they want to meet millionaires? One of the answers that I get very often is because a millionaire could afford my price and services. Okay, that's one of the answers I get a lot.
Yeah, I don't think people are generally after millionaire clients. I think that if you're running a business, there's some businesses that you are looking for millionaire clients, but they're very, very rare unless you're sort of selling private jets or, expensive jacuzzis or sort of mansion. Like generally people are not after millionaire clients. I don't know why, I don't know why, that you usually what people are after when they want to meet millionaires is because they're the ones that generally run businesses and have the capital to be able to facilitate sale of your products, right? So think Shark Tank, right? That they meet these people who have a lot of reach in the particular industries that can facilitate their businesses taking off. So this is where he doesn't understand the first principles of business.
Oh, it wouldn't hurt them if they were to give me money so that they could afford my services, okay? But I want you to think about that for a second. If You're meeting millionaires because you think they can afford you. What are you actually saying about yourself? What are you saying about yourself? Okay, what you're saying is that you believe that you're too expensive for other people that aren't millionaires. And you, in fact, end up alienating a large amount of people that could probably afford you.
Yeah, so this is the kind of business advice that is just ridiculous. Of course, you would aim your product as wide as possible, not just towards a wealthy elite. I don't like this is not advice that has any sort of, you know, help at all. You know, he's not going into marketing. He's basically saying, oh, you want to meet millionaires? Like, why don't you just try with ordinary people? And it's telling, because that's exactly what they're doing. What they're doing is they're marketing how to be a millionaire to ordinary people, even though they themselves are not millionaires and they have not made a successful business.
Even though they're not millionaires. Okay, this can be really damaging to a business. Really damaging.
Yeah, duh. Like, seriously, I you know, you're selling what, plumbing, for instance, and you want to sell to millionaires. This isn't rocket science. If you try to sell a product to people in the 1% that you should be selling to plumbers, it's damaging for. This is not rocket science. This is just banalities. It's nothing.
To a business. And this isn't even just about a business. Let's say you're looking at a mentorship, right? You want to be mentored by a millionaire. Same principle applies. Okay, you could be mentored by someone that could help you get from point A to B, but you may think only millionaires can get you there. Okay, and that is a fallacy. When I ask people, why do they?
What fallacy is it? What fallacy is it? If you want to be a millionaire, and so you want mentoring by a millionaire in order to know how to become a millionaire, what he is doing is he's setting up a paradigm saying, well, doesn't matter who you're mentored to, right? As long as they get to where you want to be, that is correct. Just because if you can get somebody to be a millionaire, yes, there's, you know, just to say, hey, only a millionaire can get me to become a millionaire. Okay, fine. But the chances of somebody who cannot become a millionaire themselves mentoring you in how to become a millionaire, it's very low, because they obviously don't have the knowledge and able to do so. But he is framing it like, well, use us as mentors. And they go into a lot of this stuff, this high quality mentor product, which, you know, I hate to break it to you, it's not. Move to delete it. Okay, give me one sec. And this, I just wanted to show you sort of.
Most often than not, and this actually becomes very prevalent with business owners, okay? At least in my experience, I can't speak for everyone else's experience, but with business owners, they're working a business that they think they should be doing because they think that there is some type of necessity to actually working that business. And what ends up happening is they put so much of themselves into this false idea of the business that they are building. They put so much of themselves into it that they don't get to experience their life. Okay, they don't get to have fun with what they're doing. Everything feels like a chore, right?
Yeah, so this is sort of the way that he does things. Don't forget, he has no experience in running a business. No experience at all. Okay, he isn't what he says he is. They're giving out this advice without any idea of the consequences. Their advice seems to be, do what you want. Like, just do what your intuition says to you, and we'll go through a bit of that, because there is a shift when he meets Sam. Now, Sam is the first girl that we're going to cover, and the background for Sam, and that's Mandy. Sorry, wrong one. The background for Sam. Now, keep in mind that he's sort of telling you how to sort of become wealthy and successful. He's sort of telling you, and I want to go into Sam first before I sort of get things out here. So Sam's an interesting one. When she basically, and I'll pull up her this is her LinkedIn. Sam R, as you can see, about if you feel like some problem and experience in life will change, it's because you lack awareness of how you are creating it. Walk away from the conversation. So she's almost a year ago, I started online community with my partner, Andre. Our community was meant to be a place where people could come together, and you can see the quantum wealth community. I'm just letting you know that this definitely is Sam Rossi that we're talking about, the other person in this. Now, her experience. So she basically started out for indie Rossi, or self-employed creator. Like, so she was a content creator. She has, in a state university of New York, a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Fine and Studio Arts. So she did an arts degree, went in as a content creator. So this includes sort of social media manager, YouTube strategist, and a content creator. And it also overlapped with something called the Alliance's Media Committee. But as you can see, she has sort of a Midas financial media sales kind of thing. So as a content creator, she actually she did have a very, very large channel, and that's where she started. Now, this channel was called Indie Rossi, and she would connecting the United States and India through mutual appreciation of culture. And she would basically do all of this content streaming to mostly Indian and Hindi men, basically. And a lot of the chat has all this thing in it. So this is where she started. It's kind of very, very strange and very, very sad, because this actually is a massive channel. It's got 281K subscribers, but as you can see, the last one was 3 years ago, was her last posting. So she's more or less abandoned this channel. And I believe that it may be, of course, I don't know for sure, but I believe that it may be a crossing of her with Andre that sort of has dragged her away. Now, at the same time, she was involved with sort of an OnlyFans and doing online adult content. And I've sort of found something for that. I, of course, won't show it, but she's doing online adult content as well. And I gather she's very unhappy with her life at that time. Very, very unhappy. So this last video, the Tamasha reaction, this was somebody sort of saying, hey, I'm taking over the channel. I'm taking over your channel. It's not a paid endorsement, just helping out a friend. So her friend is actually somebody called Mandy, Mental Mandy, and she does mental health content. Now, this person, she's got nothing to do with phase 2, right? Her name is Mental Amanda, sorry. And she does, as far as I can see, a whole load of stuff on mental health and well-being, and very, very good stuff. She's got nothing to do with phase 2 and this idea that, of selling a wealth creation idea on a quantum level. So she's fine, but she did take over the channel for one episode, and then that was 3 years ago. It suddenly went silent. But one of the comments in it was that she was never interested in Indian culture. She did just to gain Indian fan base. She said she is leaving YouTube, but she's still on YouTube with the new name Sam Rossi. And she did do that. She started a new channel called Sam is a Brand for Sam Rossi. So she kind of rebranded herself. The thing is, this sort of director of social media sales, I wondered how true that is, and I got a bit of insight from her herself. She sort of explained kind of her perspective of what happened in this situation, this thing that happened in this company. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to sort of show her talking. So she started off, probably the earliest got
Here's
is
why you
this
don't fucking understand money. I'm Sam. I teach people about phase 2 and quantum networking. Phase 2 is a literal secret of the wealthy. I'm not going to go into it right now. I grew up working class. I've always struggled with money for my entire life. This is what I'm going to teach you today. How to appreciate your feelings, because feelings and money are the same thing.
Yeah, so I booked a massage for myself the first time in my life, and then a bunch of people brought my book, and it's covered. It's like magic, right? So she's sort of saying, hey, I booked a massage, and then people bought the book. And so that is the universe showing me that, you know, if I want something, I just do it, and then the universe will all sort it out, kind of thing. And this is a thing that they touch on multiple times. This is called this fallacy, if you do want to get into it, if you're interested, is called post hoc ergo propter hoc. It means after this, therefore because of this. It means that, but just because things follow in a sequence of events doesn't mean that one is the cause of the other. Right? It just means that because one thing happens after another, it doesn't mean the prior thing caused the second thing to happen. The cause could have been something different.
I learned this very recently. If you've been following me, you've heard me talk about offering appreciation and how appreciation is the language of expansion. So here's how to actually do that. Offering appreciation is the same thing as offering happiness to yourself or someone else. In other words, to appreciate your feelings, you are going to allow yourself to feel whatever you feel, even if you feel really bad, but then you're also going to give yourself the chance to actually feel good. We get stuck feeling bad because we think we have to, because we want other people to feel more comfortable, other people who feel bad. So we don't rub our happiness in their face. The more you let yourself feel good, the more money you make. Here's why you don't.
Yeah, so it's kind of this idea that if you feel good, you're just going to make money. And look, I'm not going to say that, hey, your mental states have nothing to do with wealth creation. Of course they do. But the way that she presents it, and this is very early on, this is early Sam, and it develops a lot as we sort of go along. So as we sort of go along, we see stuff like this.
I got 20 sales overnight. That's the most I've ever made. Do you see the connection?
Okay, so notice this is from a $50 million mentor. Okay, so this is a theme that sort of runs throughout it. And I'll show you exactly who she's referring to.
Yeah, I got to figure out how I'm going to replicate the content I made yesterday. I have no idea how I'm going to do that. No, that's not it. Wait, what? What do you mean? It wasn't your content that made the sales. It was the fact that you did what I told you to do and practiced appreciating yourself yesterday. Oh my God. Wait, so it's not the content that makes sales. It's literally how I feel. Yes. People create amazing.
Okay, so ease and money flow is a whole lifestyle called phase 2. It's a literal secret of the wealthy. These people are not wealthy. This is because you're seeing your intuition. You wanted to learn it. This is sort of well, listen to your feelings in order to make money.
Content all the time, but it's just crickets. Your feelings are what create money flowing in your.
And there's the ad. To read all the details, check out my book. It's in my bio. That is a paid book, and I'll just grab that on. So it's Quantum Networking: How to Start the Game the Wealthiest and Happiest People Play, starting today. Right. So this is Sam Rossi and Andrea Pickens. As you can see, it's there. They wrote this book and are basically shilling it for money. So they're not making money in another field and then telling you how to do the same. They're making money by selling you the idea of making money.
Experience. You practiced feeling, so you created money. Whoa. Remember, you create your money experience. Where your money comes from could be literally anywhere. It just.
Now, keep in mind that phrase, where your money comes from can be literally anywhere, right? Literally anywhere. So it doesn't matter where it comes from. It doesn't matter what you do to get it. All you do is just follow your intuition, get what you want, and the money will come flowing in somehow. Now, this is a sham. This is a scam. This is incorrect because they're not getting money from anywhere. They're getting money from selling books about how to get money, but they've never gotten money, right? So they haven't gotten the money from doing something else. They're marketing this phase 2, this idea of wealth creation.
Appears to come from other people most of the time, but you create that too. This is a mind fuck, but I feel like it's totally true.
Yeah, so I feel like it's totally true. I feel like it's true. This is the thing, like they're basically saying you think you're getting money from other people, but you're creating it there in your mind, the money's in your mind, and you're just giving it to yourself. They do go into a lot of stuff about the Matrix, and they've got a whole bunch of clips about them being in the Matrix. It is all solipsism. What can I show you next? Yeah, so moving along, we've got stuff like this.
My partner Andre is a multi-millionaire, and he doesn't.
Okay, so multi-millionaire. So the person you saw earlier in the shades is apparently a multi-millionaire. Keep that in mind as we go along. He's a multi-millionaire.
Work ever. That man does whatever the fuck he wants to do all day, every day, and he hasn't worked since I've known him.
Okay, so looking at the bio that I showed earlier, right? He was in the same company as she was. He was director of internet sales. So that is a lie, right? She says he hasn't worked since she's known him. He just does whatever he wants to do. And that is a lie. She was employed with him by those people. And I did want to find the clip where she sort of complains about those people. I will try and find it. Oof. Not sure I actually got that one. There's a lot of clips I've got here. Oh, whoa. Per astra ad astra. Per aspera ad astra. I had a sense you had a feeling, so here's $2. Thank you very much. I must have willed that into existence. I must have felt something and money just came out of... Look, this isn't money coming from my creation out of nowhere. This is a real person out there deciding that they've been entertained enough to support my channel, and I'm very grateful for it. This whole thing that you have to appreciate yourself for that, it's very strange. What they're teaching is absolutely terrible. And keep in mind, they have absolutely no credentials to teach anybody about doing anything. They've written a book that they put on Amazon and are selling it trying to get rich. Yeah, and he hasn't. I believe that he hasn't worked a lot in his life. I believe that. That's the thing. Yes, I do believe that. But one thing I don't believe is that he's a multi-millionaire.
And this morning I asked him, how did you like get to where you are financially? Did you just focus on being a millionaire? And
Okay, he was broke when I met him. He didn't work then and still doesn't work now. There is always a way. So he was broke when you met him. He's a multi-millionaire now, but there aren't any there's no instructions on how to actually bridge that divide. And as I'll show you, he is not a multi-millionaire.
you knew that was for you and you didn't have a plan B? This is what he said. This blew my mind. He said, "No, I didn't give a shit about being a millionaire. All I wanted was to not ever have to work." And so that's exactly how his life unfolded. That's the choice he made for himself. That was a non-negotiable. And that's what came to be. He follows his intuition all the time. I am absolutely not saying that you can create a life like this and figure it out yourself. You have to follow your intuition.
Yeah. Want to be wealthy, then study the wealthy. I've got all the notes. Then, why aren't you wealthy?
But I just thought that was really interesting because when you choose a path, an experience, and you don't have a backup plan, it has to happen. So what choice are you making for your life? If you look around, you can see very clearly.
Yeah, and don't forget these people are reduced to hawking a dodgy self-help book and a dodgy sort of mentorships. Because to be a mentor, you have to have gone through that experience and done that thing in order to mentor someone on it. Like if you want to mentor somebody on the law, you've got to have been a lawyer or been somebody. And don't get me wrong, like mentorships are fine. It's just the quality of them depends on who's giving them. And these people, they have no freaking clue what they are talking about. They have no idea. So this is where Andre sort of goes into the background, and Sam sort of becomes the main representative of the phase 2 thing. This is sort of some of the stuff that she says.
Here's a completely different perspective on how to exercise for weight loss that will completely change your life and get you off of the yo-yo gain weight, lose weight cycle. People will say things like, "Oh, I want to be skinny," or "I want to be wealthy, I want to be rich." But as soon as they have extra money, they go and spend all of it. Or as soon as you get skinny, you gain all your weight back. The thing that's actually causing this is not genetics, not your diet, not your exercise, but your lack of awareness that the body you have that you want to change is the body you want to have. In other words, you don't actually want to have a different body. You want the one you have now, because the one you have now gives you energy. And if we look at this entire world in terms of energy, like manifestation coaches do, the things that give you energy.
Okay, so manifestation coaches, and I've sort of touched on that briefly, is like The Secret. It's basically saying, hey, if you want something, you manifest it into existence, right? So it's like that, and The Secret is just absolute bullshit. It's basically if you want something, you manifest it into existence kind of thing. You make it happen by you wanting it, which is just ridiculous. He's sort of saying that if your body doesn't change into what you want, then you want the body that you've got. That's what she's saying. That if reality doesn't change to suit you, then you want the reality that you've got. And they go into this a lot of time where they blame people for being poor or being having mental trauma or having issues. And the white privilege that is sort of on the full display here is incredible. And I'll show you a few clips that will absolutely horrify you.
Here are the things that you create. So changing your body is not about exercising. It's about accepting the fact that you already look the way you want to look and no longer having an energetic, emotional reaction to it. When that happens, your body has to change permanently.
Yeah, that's not true. That is not true. That is not how we lose. Like, we don't just say, hey, I'm having an energetic reaction to how I look. No, nothing works like that. Nothing works like that. That is not how to change your body. It is simply a case of, and some people can't help it. Some people have thyroid problems. Some people have medical issues that they cannot actually, this whole idea is so bad. It's so bad.
Story time. This is the worst experience I've ever had.
Oh, this is the clip I was looking for, by the way. I'm so sorry I'm out of order and out of sorts and sort of trying to get all of this together. I did a deep dive. I fell off the deep end, so I really apologize for that. This is such a it's fascinating to me how people get to this point. How people get to this point, right?
Working with millionaires. Last year, I met a couple at an art gallery event. We just happened to come across each other, started talking. Turned out they owned a finance company. They were really interested in my social media, and they ended up inviting me and my fiance Andre over to their house for dinner the next week. Andre's a freelancer, and this is important for the story. So when we pulled up, their house is in this gated community.
Okay, so she met these people and notice how she says my fiance. So when she's saying partner, it may not be partner kind of thing. It may be that I don't know the relationship they have together, but this is, I would say, from my suggestion, it would be the Midas Financial Company. And we've got basically who are running it. Daryl Hornbacher, Blair Hornbacher, and Wes Gummeringer. So Blair and Daryl are probably the wife and the managing partner there. This is the company they listed on their resume. Now, don't forget, they're only hired for about a year. She did have a very large YouTube channel at the time, so that may have been one of the reasons how she got in. I would guess that they possibly didn't know that she was also doing OnlyFans, but that doesn't matter. I'm not going to shame people for that. But what it does say to me is she might be perfectly capable of running social media. I get that. I absolutely get that. But she's not capable of running a finance and changing people's lives for the better.
It's gigantic. It's beautiful. Dinner was a crab boil, which was really, really good. But the conversation was weird. The owner of the company talked the whole time about how they pay their affiliates a 50% commission on the deals they bring to the table.
Yeah, so the Midas, and this is what leads me to believe it is this company, they have an affiliate program, right? So they have an affiliate program. This looks all above board. For the top tier deals, affiliates earn 6 points per deal or 50% of the 2 points. So they earn 50% of commission points, not 50% of the commission. So it sounds like they're not even understanding the actual program that they had up and running. It's kind of, I'm not sure, but this is what leads me to believe that this is the company that they were working for.
Not unheard of, but 50% is just like crazy. We ended up finding out why they pay so much a few months later. They were very open about how they needed help with a lot of things in their business. Andre ended up getting a new client. It was not long before we found out why they were paying their affiliates 50%. It was because it was literally the only way the affiliates would continue working with their company. Literally, the company had zero organization. At one point, they wanted us to stay at their house for a week straight to work with them on this project, which we did. I ended up having my very first anxiety attack because you could just feel the energy of survival mode in that house, even though they were loaded financially. About 10 months into working with them, we were like, this needs to end. We cannot do this anymore. How can we get this to end? But the problem was, we'd spent so much time working with them that they treated us like family. We were coming over to their house on Christmas. We were going to literal family functions. It was messy.
I don't doubt that they treat you like family, and a lot of small business do that, including ones that are huge financially. But it's also what con people do. They also sort of instigate themselves with families, especially sort of family-run businesses, and emotionally manipulate to be able to stay in that business. Now, this is from her point of view. This is from Sam's point of view. I don't know the other side of the story, but do keep in mind this is from her point of view.
Luckily, the universe must have been listening because everything fell apart spectacularly. So the owner was obsessed with this digital product that he had developed, which was similar to the websites where you can like browse credit cards. He ended up hiring this marketing company for $50,000 to launch and market this product. Part of the deal from that marketing company was that we would receive business consultation from this hotshot $100 million business owner consultant. The consultant was really impressed with that digital product. So we ended up having this meeting with him where he laid out the steps for us to scale that digital product to $1 billion. Naturally, everyone at the meeting was like, okay, this is a big deal. Maybe it'll knock some sense into the owner and he'll want to follow this plan and actually grow his company. Scaling that product was like his literal dream. He talked about it all the time. I shit you not. Halfway through the meeting, the owner gets up and he's like, oh, I got another meeting to go to, bye, and he just leaves. He straight up ditches this meeting that he paid $50,000 to have. After that, all hell broke loose. The wife is sobbing, their business partner is fuming, the consultant is dumbfounded, and Andre and I are standing there like, what the fuck? After the meeting, after the owner got chewed out by his wife and business partner privately, he called a meeting with me and Andre and blamed us for his company essentially falling apart. And we were like, okay, great. Does this mean we don't have to talk to you ever again? Fucking awesome. Fantastic. And it ended perfectly. We didn't even care that he was projecting his own problematic decisions onto us because it meant that we could leave. And that's the story of my worst millionaire experience.
That's probably one of her only millionaire experiences, to be honest with you, because she's not a millionaire. So we don't know why it all fell apart. And obviously the business owner blamed them. Was it because they did something dodgy? Was it because something else happened? I'm not 100% sure that is the case. I'm not 100% sure that the business owner didn't want to scale up or whatever that she gives as the explanation. I have a hard time believing what she says, considering that she basically wishes reality into existence, that this may be what she wants to have happened rather than the actual truth of the matter. I don't know. But it's, you know, it's kind of weird. And it sort of gets to the point where she basically talks about money being feelings.
Take a second right now to imagine the feeling of opening a puzzle. You're going to put a puzzle together, you've just opened it, and you're looking at it. You know exactly what the feeling is. You don't know how it goes together, but you're not worried about it either, because obviously it has to go together. Okay, so you've got the feeling, right? Now I want you to think of something that you think you cannot afford. The ultimate luxury vacation or a new wardrobe, something that's completely out of what you think you can pay for. Go look at it right now. Pull up a picture on the internet. Pull up the number. Pull up the amount. And when you look at that number, instead of defaulting to your usual, oh God, I can't afford this. I don't know how I could ever possibly afford this. Remember the feeling of looking at a puzzle. It must happen. It must come together somehow. You just don't know and you're not worried about it. This little exercise will completely change your money experience because money is just feelings.
Yeah, you heard that right. Money is just feelings. So these are the people trying to hawk their book on Amazon, trying to get people to take on their mentorship, that money is just feelings. Like, that's all that it is. If you feel a certain way, then that means money, right? So this idea that remuneration and the money that we have is just your feelings about it is kind of weird. It's kind of weird. And she puts out stuff like this. Okay, so this is the stuff that she's putting out, right? Notice the green screen in the background. This isn't real. You know, this isn't her closet with all this stuff in it. Okay, and this is your millionaire mentress. right? So she's basically saying that she's a millionaire mentor, and she talks about these people being millionaires, right? Just keep that in mind as we sort of go into the next one, because phase something I want to show you about phase 2. Okay, so this is the house, and that's Mandy on Earth, the third sort of person in the partnership. And do notice that this isn't a mansion, right? This is a block of units, as we call it in Australia, or an apartment block. So they aren't millionaires themselves. They're going to Costco to shop. This is their million
It's like a larger number at a time, but it saves you so much energy, because at the end of the day, the numbers isn't what matters, it's your energy.
So we're shopping for the apocalypse, a week.
Until we stop.
The first time I'd ever been in a Costco.
Intuition time.
Thank you. What is it?
Another flavor of juice?
You're not
Sign
gonna drink all
me
this juice for
up.
a year.
That's fine.
Okay, now keep in mind this man is a multi-millionaire. $50 million is his worth, apparently, according to them. That's his worth according to them. Multi-millionaire. Wandering around Costco.
So we originally had the idea to come to Costco because we noticed how much money we were spending on food, like going grocery shopping every day to get little things here and there.
Well, we have our amazing tax lady, Brenda, who
Yes.
is, if you're a content creator, or if
Need
you're
to know
anyone,
Brenda.
you need to know Brenda, because
Yeah.
she will save you so much money on your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're a $50 million person, you're not noticing like little things that you've got to go out to get, like little, that's all adding up, right? If you've got a $50 million portfolio, what does sort of a $200 bill really mean to you? It doesn't. It's not a big deal. You don't have to go to Costco because you're surprised. No, I'm not. It's not based upon just that, Jedi. It's not. Like if they went for, say, $1 million, I might actually believe it. But if you're going for $50 million, you're worth $50 million. That's a different story. Hey, Robin, and Robin has gifted a readership. Thank you so much, Robin. I really appreciate it. Sydney Raptor. Oh, you hit Sydney. Dang. Well done. Well done. Yeah, so but this is the kind of thing, like, is the person that you're taking mentorship from actually worth $50 million, or are they not? Because the stuff that he wears, the presentation that he makes, all the stuff that he says, it doesn't suggest he is worth that amount of money. What it seems to be is he's found people to leech off of. Like he's found them to create content, he can leech off them. And it's kind of sad. It is kind of sad. A $50 million guy. And when they get home, so this is them when they get home to the apartment. The apartment, I might add, apartment. And Left-Handed Jedi with 5 readerships. Thank you so much, Jedi. Carol Kisner was gifted a membership. I Killed Earl was gifted a membership. Speed Romans was gifted a membership. Sabra Cadabro was gifted a membership. And Uncle Charlie was gifted a membership. Congratulations, everybody. Oh, yeah, enjoy your... Yeah, chickens for everybody. Chickens for everybody. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. This is the apartment of a multi-millionaire. Don't get me wrong, it's perfectly fine. It's a nice apartment. I got no problems with it. But this isn't the apartment of a multi-millionaire. I'm really sorry it's not. Not sharing it with 2 other people.
So we're back from Costco.
Doing surgery on our Costco goods.
Rinsing the chicken before putting it into the bag.
Yep.
Excellent. Got some fish.
Right. So that's their sort of laundry. My place is bigger than this. It is. I'm really sorry, it is. You know, and that's not to look, I don't have a problem with their plate. They're perfectly fine that you're not a multi-millionaire, but your brand, your services require him to be a multi-millionaire. And he's fucking not. He's just not. You know, the people that actually have made it, they will show you sort of where they live and what car they drive and stuff, because they basically say, hey, you know, I've made it and I can show off all this stuff. You know, I have the finances behind me. But these guys don't seem to.
Homesteading. Our pantry is all organized.
This is how you save and keep your money.
Keep hella.
Right, this is how you save and keep your money. Yeah, I get that, but you're supposed to be a multi-millionaire. Like, why do you have to save and manage your money? House isn't bad. I certainly wouldn't put it in a car, but house isn't bad. Real estate is fine. Real estate always appreciates. Cars, as soon as you buy them, they depreciate. It's terrible investment. Bad. But real estate, depending on where it is, it isn't that bad, or at least not where I am anyway. But like at 50 million, you could just invest that money and live off, you know, sort of the interest for the rest of your life. Why do they need to sell self-help books and things? They're trying to make money on a lie, because they're lying. They're absolutely lying. Don't forget, like, if you had a good background of managing your company, growing your company, you know, your background was in entrepreneurship and stuff. This man was a coder for a failed video game that wasn't even that big, and then got interested in content creation and managing people's content creation. And it, you know, the Indie Rossi that she ran was a fairly big channel, but the problem was that it was mostly targeted towards India, and from India you only get rupees, which are not worth a whole lot at all. But you know, I'm not denigrating them for not succeeding or not having that. They are basing coaching and mentoring people on the idea that they are fabulously wealthy, and they're not. That they are millionaires from their system of quantum networking, and they're selling a book about it. They're not what they claim to be, and this is the problem. To be honest with you, I'm amazed they haven't hired a boat, to be honest with you. Okay, so I've got some stuff to show you of what they started to get into podcasts. And the podcasts are, yeah, actually I'll show you their website that they've come up with. So they do have a website that they've put up, kind of thing. So this is sort of leap into phase 2, right? And you can see that these are highly edited sort of pictures. Andre Pickens, I'll let you know who I am once I figure it out. I've been aware for phase 2 over a decade, and then now I help an unlimited amount of people. Really? An unlimited amount of people, really? Really. And Sam Rossi, my history doesn't matter, neither do the number of followers I have. I like writing, reaching people, and making videos for social media about phase 2 and my experiences. That is not the bio of somebody that has succeeded in entrepreneurship. If you look at their home picture, they basically are trying to get you into this phase 2, the membership community. And this is where the cult comes into it. The sort of like-minded people about phase 2. Then they have courses, ebooks and audiobooks, 0 to hero wealth experience. They can't even do this to themselves, right? That background is not their place. It's a obviously they've used AI to sort of get a background that looks wealthier than it is. Phase 2 house. So this is the people. So that little apartment is what they call the phase 2 house, right? All these entrepreneurs working in this house for a common goal, which is to sell phase 2. Number one, it's not a house, it's an apartment. It's not a house, it's an apartment. These are the 3 people, as you can see. AI has gone over their things. Andre Perkins, I am you. I've got nothing to say. Sam Rossi, Sam is a brand. I am the type of wealth that rich people want. Is she? Because she's shopping at Costco, as seen on HuffPost, Newsweek, and Will Smith's socials. So she is grasping at anything she can grasp at. And Mandy Little, we'll get into her later, and this is the sad story. So this is not what people who are trying to mentor in wealth accumulation are going to say to you. I've got nothing to say. Really. So they delved into podcasts for a certain amount of time as well. And the podcasts are excruciating. I've got a couple of timestamps here that I'll sort of go through because this is a podcast, and this is where, as soon as they get into the house, it seems like Andre hides or takes a backstage kind of thing. Mandy and Sam sort of take over and are the face of this phase 2 company.
People tell themselves.
106.
What? Okay, go ahead.
I can't just do whatever I want because I have to pay my rent.
Oh,
Sam, I have to pay my rent. I can't just possibly do whatever I
I
want.
can't just exist.
The privilege from these 2 is extraordinary. Yeah, people have rent, people have bills, people have finances. They're basically saying, just if you don't want to pay it, just don't pay it. Just don't do that. Because everybody has that luxury.
I have to.
You have to do what?
This is like the best bullshit that everyone says because they have to have a place to live.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's essential.
I have to.
Mm.
My house is an obligation.
Oh, I see. Yes. Having a roof over your head is really tough.
It's really tough. It's one of my biggest obligations. It's really one of my biggest problems. Like, I can't just be like you and do whatever I want because
I have to have a roof over my head.
Yeah. So this is the sort of people are trapped in renting and trapped in this sort of, having to live paycheck to paycheck, and they find it hilarious because they don't have kids, they don't have obligations. They basically will just do whatever they want to do. And the way that they fund this is by scamming people with these, well, you can do whatever you want. Now, somewhere down the line, someone's not going to be able to scam somebody else, like all MLMs. What happens is that if you can get 7 people funding you, you can have a really good profit off of that. But once you get to about 10 iterations, you can't find any more people that will buy your bullshit, right? So really the people down the line are the ones to suffer. And it doesn't matter to you because you're being funded by all these people. That's how MLMs work. But they find it hilarious that other people can't just do whatever they want. You know, they feel nothing about scamming people like this. Nothing.
To pay my rent and pay my rent, then don't. If it's that much of an imposition, don't pay your rent, bro.
Yeah. That's honestly what they think. If you don't want to pay your rent, just don't pay your rent. If that's what your intuition says, just do it. Just don't pay your rent. See what happens.
Because I changed my life. Oh, man. Oh, fresh, hot, steaming BS. So yes, so good.
So good, yeah.
So,
Hilarious.
Another good one. Okay. So I have childhood trauma because my dad abandoned me. What?
Yeah, so they're reading out comments from people who have said, I have childhood trauma because my dad abandoned me. And they find it hilarious. They find it hilarious.
As a child. So now I can't have healthy relationships because of my fear of abandonment. Bro. Wait, that's not really you, is it? I mean, you could say it is technically that, yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay, interesting, because I've never heard you say anything about that. Well, so it's good because you weren't still bringing it up.
Yeah. So if you have had a traumatic experience, according to them, just don't bring it up. Nobody wants to hear it. You're just being negative. You know, you're just this. They're trying to be life coaches without any understanding of life. Like they're trying to be so. And yet they're basically making money off selling people this idea.
It's not relevant. But this is the most common bullshit. Yes. That people tell me, well, but I have this childhood trauma. Where? I didn't know you were still a child. Where is your childhood trauma at right now in the present moment? Is it curious?
Yeah, so a complete lack of understanding of psychology, mental states, trauma, anything like that. Complete lack of understanding and laughing at it because you think that if you believe that you've got no problems, then you've got no problems. And then you can sort of, without any conscience whatsoever, sell a worldview to people that you have absolutely no idea about.
Room with us? Hello?
Yeah, so they're sort of just making light of trauma and problems.
I was so do that to you. Okay.
Sorry, I have to find the next section.
If I'm an empath, how could I, if everyone's me, how could I possibly also be a narcissist? Oh my god. That fucking kills me because it is so arrogant to be like, narcissists are the absolute worst and I'm not one of them at all and I could never be one.
Yeah, so they're basically saying that it's good to be a narcissist. Like, oh, I could never be narcissistic and, just think of myself all the time. And they're like, why not? Why can't you? Let's do that.
Yeah. Listen to yourself. Oh, wow. It's funny because I've actually had comments. I've had people say this to me too of like, well, why do I always attract
narcissist.
Because you are one.
Because those are the parts of you that you're denying. Right? So you're getting that reflection really strong because how limiting to identify yourself as an empath as well.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Right.
It's being like, I'm gonna choose this one extreme of these aspects of me to identify with, but then everything that's the opposite of that, I don't identify with at all.
Ridiculous.
So of course you attract that into your experience to
Yeah.
be like, hello, this is also you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're basically saying that you create the world around you, so you're responsible for attracting narcissists, which is just insane. These people don't understand anything about psychology whatsoever. They are borderline sociopathic. They have no empathy for anybody else. While you know, it's just horrific what they go into.
Experience because they're just finally grabbed. Oh my, someone's like wasn't I guess. Yeah.
You don't like it. Well, because you do like it. Kills me.
Well, I just say like when people ask me like, oh well, what about like the war going on in so and so, and I'm like, how do you
Oh, you got to hear this. This is insanity.
even know that's happening?
Yeah, that too. Were you there?
Are you there?
I'll just back that up a second. Sorry, I talked over the top of it.
Well, you don't like it. Well, because you do like it. Kills me.
Well, I just say like when people ask me like, oh well, what about like the war going on in so and so, and I'm like, how do you even know that's happening?
Yeah, that too. Were you there?
Are you there?
Are you there?
Is it bomb dropping on you right now?
No. So
Yeah, I don't think I have to elucidate just how horrible it is for them to go, well, all of these people concerned about war, but I've got no bombs dropping on me, so it doesn't matter. Why should I care? Like, the complete lack of humanity in these people is appalling.
maybe appreciate the fact that a bomb isn't dropping on
That's a
you
great way to
right
approach it.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the things on the news are just meant to show you what you're not appreciating.
If you're focused,
The things shown on the news, like, nobody's having wars to show you what you're not appreciating. That isn't why the war is happening. It's very complicated why wars occur, but the whole idea that is related to you in some way, that it's there for you, for your benefit, is so narcissistic and so callous. I don't even have words to describe it. And this is where the lack of critical thinking will get you.
on war happening, that's a reflection of the war within yourself.
Amen.
Yeah, so the war is happening as a reflection of the war happening within yourself. What a bunch of bullshit. Like, what an absolute bunch of crap. These girls are absolutely lying their asses off. Like, they just want to make money, and that's it. They're just selfish, insanely selfish, with no things. And if you think this is bad, buckle up, because it gets a lot worse. And I can't even explain to you how much worse it gets.
God. Or I start freaking guilt tripping for business. Genius. Like what?
Hot steaming bullshit.
Hot.
Fresh off the griddle. One more.
The griddle.
Fresh off the griddle. Oh, one more. Okay.
We got low battery anyway. Cool.
Yeah, this is the last one. There are certain things you just can't say around certain people. Like, it's important to have boundaries and respect other people's feelings.
Like what? What can I say around certain people?
This to me is like a perfect reflection of there's like certain aspects of me that I'm uncomfortable with.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like, but I can't say them around other people because it's important to respect other people's feelings. No, bitch, you just don't want to feel your own feelings.
You just don't want to feel your own feelings. So, for instance, you sort of talk to a war veteran and you say, well, I don't give a shit about war. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that you probably shouldn't say around other people, but they've been they've been so deep in this whole idea that I am the only thing that matter, is that they don't see that anymore. They don't see why it's wrong anymore. They don't accept that that boundaries are important for people anymore.
No, bitch.
No.
Yes.
Nope. Boundaries are bullshit.
You heard it. Boundaries are bullshit. So if I have a boundary, I don't want you touching me or coming in my space or talking to me because you're a worthless piece of garbage that has been sucked down this rabbit hole into not considering any other person except yourself. They think that's bullshit. They think they can do literally whatever they want, whatever their intuition tells them.
Boundaries are bullshit, and then that statement alone just makes other people victims without them.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to say something that might trigger someone
else
because
they're victims, and you got to respect their victimhood.
I'll let them keep their stories so that they can make sure that they stay.
So is it fine in meetings if we bring up Sam's here porn career? Of course not. That would be a boundary that I would probably respect. But if she says there's no boundaries, there's no problem with it, right? Why should me playing that be a problem? Why should any of that be a problem?
A victim. Forever.
You know the crabs in a bucket analogy?
No.
Yeah, and it's just, well, you want to know how it can get worse? Okay, buckle up, people. Buckle up. Just buckle the fuck up. Now, this is Mandy. And we'll go into Mandy because she seems the third person to join. And this is where it gets horrifying because she's been dragged in, and that's Mandy on the right. She goes by Mandy on Earth, and she is something.
Yesterday, I pretended to be homeless for 3 hours, and I realized that.
So listen to that. Yesterday, I pretended to be homeless for 3 hours. 3 hours. You being homeless for 3 hours is simply leaving your house. That is not being homeless. You had a home. You chose to leave it for 3 hours. That's an excursion. That isn't being homeless.
That if you're homeless, you're there by choice. Like, you are there by choice 100%. I realize that if you're homeless, you're there by choice. Like, you are there by choice 100%.
I want to play that again.
I realize that if you're homeless, you're there by choice. Like, you are there by choice 100%, having that experience. Just the way that I chose to go experience that by choice. It's just the only difference is the stories that you're telling yourself. So if you want to experience homelessness, you want to experience what it would be like to lose everything, you can go have that experience. Or you're welcome to create a bunch of bullshit stories in your life that force you, quote unquote, force you into that experience. But even when you go by force, it's still by choice because you wanted to have that experience. You just created a bunch of excuses for why you gave yourself permission to have it. It's just like any other experience that we have in life. It's no worse or better than having a home. It's no,
Yeah. It's no worse or better than having a home, being homeless.
no different than anything else, but the experience does show you how much you take for granted.
Bitch, I hope you're homeless. I really do. And the way you're going, unfortunately, that's how you're going to turn out. You are scamming people because when you look at Mandy's bio, this is Mandy Little. she has no employment activity. She's a person with a spiritual person with experience in the holistic space. She's done massage therapy, body work, yoga instruction, meditation. She teaches and coaches, sort of thing. I guide people through psychedelic integration and applying awareness following their intuition to shift their experience. Horrible. And it makes me question whether they were on psychedelics when laughing uncontrollably about people's trauma. It does possibly seem that way. Okay, so here we go. Here's where it gets absolutely fucked. Are you ready for this, people? Because I managed to track down their homelessness experience, and I'll just quickly run it.
What's up, guys?
Our worthless experience. Yeah. So this is their target. This is a person who they basically they're coaching, they're life coaching to make her sort of feel better about her life. So basically, they went out and pretended to be homeless.
Very interesting.
Oh, I need. We're like need.
Ned.
Ned.
Ned, help!
So this is them writing a board in their home. They're not homeless. Writing a board that I need help, basically.
Hanging a sign, asking people for money. I am the most judgmental. I judge everything, but this one takes the cake. I'm about to do it!
We've walked down here before? Yeah, I was saying.
So this is people with absolute white privilege. And this is what I mean about that Andre, you know, he must be the one filming maybe, but maybe it's Sam here.
I went down here to see what was there, and I felt so much energy. But this was years ago. And it's more of a tunnel.
So this is them going and sitting beneath a bridge, or it's more of a tunnel, with their sign to see what it's like to be homeless.
It's also a restaurant.
It is. Oh, nice. We've already been here.
Yeah, that's because people who are literally starving to death have had to get sauce packets from Taco Bell to eat something so they won't fucking die. You idiots.
Is that us that left it there? Y'all want to sit for a minute and just let the feelings kind of flow? Let's do it. What's your
This is like my biggest fear. Being this like fucked, and it literally is just sitting under a bridge.
Yeah, doesn't actually mean anything.
So I understand confronting your fear. There's no reason to think that you're going to be homeless. I understand confronting fear. That's important. But doing 3 hours of just walking around with a sign, it isn't the homeless experience. Okay, you're not actually in that mental state. You're not actually experiencing what it's like. The hunger, and let me show you this. So they're basically, they don't need help, right? They clearly don't actually need it. What they are doing is they are trying to coach this person in how not to feel guilty for taking things that by immoral means. Like, you are being taught, why should you care to take stuff that you don't need, that you don't deserve, that you didn't work towards? You shouldn't care.
I feel like I've seen you in a stock photo before. We got some stuff. Cereal bars. Water. Wow.
So much water.
There's oranges. Baby food. Aw. Saltines. Soup. Cream of chicken. Cream of chicken. Goldfish. Oh, and some sandwiches. Who wants a sandwich?
I want a sandwich.
Hell yeah, alright. Alright, that's probably good. Nice. Accepting help. Yay! Ready?
Yeah, so she goes up and she sort of begs for money as well that she doesn't need. And then they go to Subway. Then they go to Subway to talk about it, which is taking advantage of all of the, there's actual people that need actual help out there.
Experience. And I was like, God, please nobody look at me. Like, somebody like quickly just give me money so I can get out of here. And like 10 minutes in, I was just relaxed and people. And yeah, that was like the big takeaway of the day in general. Like, being willing to receive help from others is a way that we can show them appreciation.
Yeah, and that is a good thing when you get help from people because you genuinely need help. That's the thing. But she isn't learning that. She's basically being taught to take advantage of people by lying about your circumstance. And that's the big takeaway from this phase 2. Because what phase 2 is at its heart is taking advantage of people by lying about your circumstance in order to get money from them. That's the takeaway. You can lie and get money for it. And she said it was expensive. I think at one point she says the most expensive part.
And smiling. And yeah, that we can show them appreciation for us. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you at the end. I was just relaxed, hopeless. Most expansive for sure was sitting in that intersection. We did the okay.
Yeah, she said it was expensive. So they are basically saying, hey, we'll mentor you, we'll do this horrible shit with you, but she's supposed to become another mentor for other people. So what did she actually learn through any of this? I don't know. It's fine to learn, hey, you can take people's help. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. But the problem is that she is lying in order to get money out of people. Now, let's get on to Mandy, because Mandy's probably the most weird one of the lot of them. Now, Mandy starts, interestingly enough, as sort of a very unhinged young lady. I will sort of show it.
Are you ready to stop playing fucking dumb yet? You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Ever. This is a video game. Hello? Hi. You put me here. You put me here to tell you that this is a video game. And you can literally do whatever you want. All day, every single day. I am retired. I am 26. I do whatever the fuck I feel like doing all day, every single day, just because I stopped telling myself I couldn't. The only reason that you think that you have to do things that you don't fucking want to do is because somebody told you that at some point and you accepted it. You placed someone into your experience, or multiple people into your experience, to tell you that you had to do things you don't want to do and that life is supposed to suck and be hard. And you claimed those beliefs. You accepted them. You accepted it and you were like, all right, I'm going to operate out of this program for the rest of my journey. You can stop. You can literally just stop running that program at any point and just do whatever you want. But the thing is, you're not going to, because you like what you're doing. You like the struggle. That's why you place those people in your experience to tell you that, so that you could operate from that system, because you wanted to have that experience. Nothing is ever a problem, but you tell yourself that it is.
Yeah, and this is the scam that they're running. So she's going to sort of change over time, over a couple of years, into another scammer, like a person just scamming people.
You know, being dumb can get you everything you want in life. My name's Mandy, and I teach something called Phase 2, which is Secrets of the Wealthy, very simply. And the reason...
Yeah, keep in mind she's not wealthy. Like, she's doing this from her car. They're not wealthy at all.
why most people keep this a secret who are wealthy is because people don't get it when you tell them anyways, because they're too smart for their own good. You're too smart for your own good. You think you know exactly how everything works, and you have one specific way of doing everything, and that gets in the way of the wealth in your experience. See, all types of experiences, money, opportunities, relationships are all available to wealthy people because they know nothing, because they've accepted that they know nothing. They're dumb and they get whatever they want, because when you're dumb, when you accept that you don't know anything, you open yourself up to infinite possibilities. Anything can happen when you know nothing. In this series, I'm going to teach you all the secrets of the wealthy, and maybe if you're dumb enough, it'll make sense to you. Follow along.
Yeah, so here's the thing, like, they want dumb people. They want people that cannot think critically, because people that can't think critically and think that they've got good things, they will give them money, right? That's what they will do. That is part of their plan. They also want people to think intuitively, like, without critically thinking about what they're doing, because people that don't think critically will just give them money. Now, at a certain point, her hair changed and she became weird, very weird.
There's no reason you need to be struggling in your business in any way. That's just because you're living in phase 1. You still believe, okay, that you have to convince people to buy from your business, and that you have to structure things a certain way, and there's certain rules about how you do business. But in phase 2, you realize that it's all you. Okay, you're just playing a game with yourself.
Now, keep in mind, this woman has never run a business. Like, she does not have any idea about sales, about strategies in business, about anything. It's actually crazy.
You create your customers. You are your customers. And as long as you're having fun selling, you're just selling yourself on yourself over and over again. So the more sold you are on what you're doing, the more sales you're going to make effortlessly. When people talk about getting paid to exist, this is what they mean. Realizing what it actually is, being honest with yourself about what it is you actually want to do with your life in this video game, and then just committing to it and only doing what's fun for you. And then your business has absolutely no other option than to be a huge booming fucking success, because you are being a huge booming fucking success at playing the human game. I'll give you a perfect example of this for your business, okay? It doesn't matter what product you're selling, because the product is always you. When you're selling someone that product, you are selling them on their own capability.
So this is what they have in their own business model. They're trying to sell themselves, but they are doing it by misrepresenting themselves. They're doing it by misrepresenting what they actually are and their capabilities. Because if they had the capability to be wealthy, extravagantly wealthy, they would be. But they're not.
Of being able to create whatever experience it is for themselves. So say you're selling your coaching, you are selling it as an experience of you will transform into this version of you who doesn't give a fuck, who can do whatever the fuck they want. If you're sitting there and you're selling that service, you are also selling yourself on the ability to create it for yourself. And you don't have to go searching for, oh no, what would I want to sell people on? What would people want to buy? Just look at your own life. What do you want to buy? What experience do you want to create for yourself? And sell that to somebody else. And simultaneously, while you're selling that experience, you are also selling yourself on it. It's simple.
So basically, she's sort of saying that you should delude yourself into thinking you have all this expertise, sell other people on it while deluding yourself that you have all of this experience to sell. Right. And yeah, I have no doubt her parents are wealthy. Like, I think she's been propped up all her life. And they're selling the idea of this community, but she sort of said the quiet part out loud, that you're also selling yourself on it. You're convincing yourself while you're convincing others. And that's a big thing. That is sort of the cult mentality that they're getting into. That is the problem. If you see people like this, run. They are absolutely, because the only thing they can teach you is how to scam other people, because that's what they're teaching. Don't forget, there is no product. There's no product, right? The product is phase 2. And phase 2 is the way you get to wealth. There's no product. There's no sort of helpful thing here. There's just sell people on this phase 2 and we'll all get fabulously wealthy. That doesn't work, because the problem is there is a limited amount of people that can buy that from you, who will be willing to buy that from you. Because you want to be at the top, you're basically starting a pyramid scheme. That's basically what they're doing.
Doesn't matter how much money you make. Your threshold could 10x itself from the amount you're making.
And then this is her under the guidance of the other two, where before she started out sort of very rough and sort of, she's being coached to make herself seem like a life coach, right? She's being coached to scam other people into thinking she can mentor them into being millionaires. That's what she's being trained with. And that is the essence of phase 2. How do you make money? You basically market yourself as somebody that can teach people how to make money, right? That's what you can do. If I can say, hey, I know how to make you wealthy, in order for me to teach you, give me money. I'm not a millionaire, right? Like, just say I'm destitute and I'm living in a house with another 2 people. You're basically saying, well, what I will teach you is what I'm doing, which is telling people you can make them money if they give you money. That's what you're teaching people. It's absolutely insane. Because the only way they can make money is convincing people that they can make money, and that the system they've got in place will make them money and make people happy. And these people, they laugh like evilly at stuff, but they don't seem particularly happy. They don't seem happy at all. They more seem angry. And yes, it is kind of a pyramid scheme. And Tap, if you wanted to know, you should have watched from the start, Tap. Okay, so there's quantum has nothing to do with it. They're trying to tie in a solipsism matrix kind of idea into it. But yeah, that's the third of the trio, Mandy, and she shills a lot.
The entire world wants to give you everything that you want.
Yeah, watch this if you're not a millionaire. Well, you better watch it, honey, because you're no millionaire.
Because the entire world is you. You just haven't learned how to get out of your own way yet. You still feel like you have to work hard for everything. You still feel like you have to try to make yourself valuable somehow, like you have to prove something to the world, but you actually don't. And every time that you do that, you're getting more and more in your own way. This is why we created Quantum Millionaire, to show you that you can become a millionaire like that. People in the world want to hand you everything you've ever wanted on a silver platter. It's all about just getting out of your own way, but you don't know how to do that. So we give you step-by-step instructions on how to do exactly that. Join for season 2. The link is in my bio.
Yeah. So they're basically teaching people how to scam other people by pretending to have secrets of wealth and being a millionaire. That's what they're doing. And somewhere along the line, somebody's going to have to pay for it. And it probably won't be them. Now, sort of investigating into this, I found, and this is one sort of just case study, right, of Eleanor Morale.
I am a millionaire and I am broke as a joke. Both of these statements are equally true, yet I'm choosing to believe only one of them. And I've only just noticed. Okay, so first, I'm a millionaire. I own a property in London that's on the market for 6 figures. I own a business which, thanks to TikTok, an investor is interested in investing in for another 6 figures. I own another business, a website where I write product reviews and get commissions from Amazon. The website is predicted to start making 6 figures really soon. So that's another business with another 6 figures. So millionaire, right? But then I'm having cash flow problems. Seeing as my wealth is all tied up in assets, I don't have cash to back up this wealth. So I've maxed out all my credit cards. I owe people money that I've had to borrow to pay off debts. I have more debts mounting. I have day-to-day bills. And my cash inflow at the moment is limited. Okay, so I've just proved right.
Okay. So here's the thing, right? When you're a millionaire, it's only the assets that you're looking at. That is all that it is, right? So if I go out and I get a loan for $1 million, I use everything I have as collateral, get a loan for $1 million. I have not suddenly become a millionaire. Okay, that hasn't happened. Okay, it's not that I'm a millionaire and also broke. Just say I take that million and I put it into a restaurant or into a business of some sort. It's not like I am a millionaire and also broke. No, I'm just in debt for $1 million. And I have the assets that were originally my collateral. But that collateral is all dependent on how well the money that I've borrowed goes. I will owe the bank interest. So if that business is not profitable, then it starts to lose value as my debt accumulates. So if you have borrowed money and you've put that into a 6-figure business, that doesn't mean you are both a millionaire and broke, right? That doesn't mean that.
That I'm both a millionaire and broke as a joke. So I started thinking back to the last time I felt really, really rich, because at the moment I feel really, really poor. So the last time that I felt really, really rich is when I owned 3 successful restaurants in Sydney, Australia. And those restaurants were all combined worth like into the millions. One of the restaurants is a high-end Lebanese restaurant, and almost was half a point away from getting a chef's hat in its first year of operation. The cafes, I had 2 cafes, and they had lines of people outside every weekend waiting sometimes up to 2 hours to come and eat at my cafes. I felt really rich. I bought a Porsche. I wore designer clothes. I had designer bags, designer shoes. I traveled to exotic locations, but I had borrowed the money to start these businesses.
And there you are. Right? So She owed millions, pumped those millions into restaurants and things. It doesn't make her a millionaire. She still owes that money. I really wish she had understood how asset versus debt works, but she doesn't. That if you borrow $1 million, you don't suddenly become a millionaire. You have the same amount of debt that you don't become a millionaire. You just took a loan out. That's all.
So I owed millions. But because I had the cash here and now to spend, I felt like a millionaire. My net position was negative, but I felt the richest I've ever felt in my life. At the moment, my net position is positive, and I feel the poorest I've ever felt in my life. Okay, so why is that? Well, the problem is I don't have the cash here and now, right? My wealth is all tied up in businesses. It's theoretical figures. Theoretical, like completely made up figures. And I can't get at the money. So what does this mean? I mean, it means that money's not real, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is sort of a social construct, but what you're sort of saying is that, hey, because I've invested in all these companies and I can't actually sell the stocks for them or get any kind of sort of assets from them, I don't feel like I have any money. And it's like, well, aren't they making a profit? Or do you get, I don't know the situation here, but like, she doesn't seem to understand this.
This is also true if you try and think about how much money there is in the world. Like if you think about, if you added up all the money that people have, plus what everything is worth, how much is there? And how much things are worth is subjective. It depends on the person valuing the thing. Like if it's real estate, one person's willing to pay this much for it, one person's willing to pay this much for it. How much is it actually worth? So if you're trying to add up all the money in the world, you could ask different people, use different methodologies, and still come up with multiple answers. All that is to say, money is 100% not real, and wealth is just a feeling. So if money's not real and wealth is a feeling, that means that money's like a feeling, right? So like energy, money is energy. You've probably heard people say that before.
No, the only people I've heard say that before is these phase 2 people, and she has bought it hook, line, and sinker. The whole idea that money is just your feelings about stuff. You have investments in things that you obviously can't get out of, and you have no actual income stream. That is your problem. And you probably like to live extravagantly. You probably live beyond your income stream, which is also a problem.
I've definitely heard that before, heaps on TikTok, and I never really got it until now. Like, now I understand how money's just...
Yeah, going to TikTok for financial advice is a bad move. And this is why we should avoid these phase 2 people. Going to them for financial advice is a bad move.
A feeling. I mean, how it's energy. I mean, they're both the same thing, right? So today I'm choosing wealth. That's how I want to feel. I am a millionaire.
Yeah, so whether you're wealthy or not is not a matter of feelings. I mean, you could say that in a colloquial kind of a metaphorical sense, say, if I love my life, then I am wealthy and that's how I feel about it. Sure, no, I get that. But whether you have assets or don't have assets is not a feeling. Whether you have income or don't have income is not a feeling. It's not. Now, who is this person? And I had to do a really deep dive to find out who this actually was. So this is a woman called Eleanor Massey. She dates back. She actually ran. She was a Sydney mum that poured her $175,000 life savings into a business idea and invested in FTX crypto. Now, if you don't know, FTX crypto was the one where they falsified the books and they were closed up, kind of thing. They were wrapped up. because this man was prosecuted for falsifying books and committing fraud, where they basically had parties and spent extravagant lifestyles and ran away with all of the money. So Miss Massel, and I'll just 100% prove that is her. Okay, Miss, I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry, Miss Morales. She basically had a Dwell app when she was in Sydney that went through and sort of FTX crashed and it all went away. Like, so she got absolutely destitute by this FTX crash in cryptocurrency. She has abandoned her project and she's now moved to Brazil, her husband's home country, but doesn't have a visa to work there. So she basically says she is trying desperately to learn and living online through any way she can. So this is a person that has started an app. She owned a restaurant. She had tons of investments. Basically invested in crypto. It went bust because the crypto was really dodgy and they committed fraud. Now, that's not her fault that the crypto company committed fraud, but it's a very risky investment kind of thing. Now, what happens next? Well, she's trying to earn a living back in Brazil. So I'm not so sure that she's got all of these things, but
I'm rereading Busting Loose from the Money Game, and honestly, if you haven't read this book, you must read it. It goes into the science behind how we literally create reality with our minds. You may have heard before of something called the field, which is the field of possibility that surrounds particles and atoms that
yeah, so this is a book called Busting Loose from the Money Game. It basically uses pseudo junk science, sort of says that we create the reality around us. So you can create what reality that you have around us from a quantum field. It's bullshit.
Means that when they are observed, they change into whatever we're expecting or intending to see. And this is true through all of creation. Literally everything that we sense with
notice all of creation, just notice that.
Any of our five senses is created by us thinking about it first and collapsing all other possibilities down into the one that we intend or believe we're going to see. And this is also affected by our perception of things. So for example, right now you can see it's raining. I could perceive that as a good thing or a bad thing. And how I choose to perceive that, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, will affect my mood and my emotions and then my physical reality. So I know that I have created myself waking up on a Monday morning to a rainy day. And now I get to choose whether I appreciate that or I let it annoy me. And of course, I'm going to choose to appreciate the rain. It was hella hot here yesterday and I need a break. And I also appreciate myself for creating the rain. Let me know in the comments what you created for yourself today.
Yeah, so this is the appreciation that the phase 2 people are going to. So what we have here is a mother that has invested badly. It's completely failed. She's had to go back and she hasn't learnt from her experience of falling for this kind of scam because the phase 2 people are scamming her as well. So just one last thing, and this is sort of a case study in where it gets you. So this is her LinkedIn. Eleanor Morale, CFA, emotional intelligence coach and financial analyst. Executive Director of Kronos Invest, financial modeling for crypto, FX, and global equity. Intuitive coach teaching others to create a life in freedom by following their intuition. How's that intuition working for her? She lost a ton of money on crypto and ended up in Brazil, unable to work because she has no work visa. Now she's getting into phase 2. This is a really sad story. It's a really sad story. And she has a daughter that relies on her, and it's just really sad. And she's been taken advantage of. Now, it's not my intention to show you all of this just to bash on these people and say, ha ha ha, these people suck or have, I think that somewhere along the line, I think it all started with the Andre. And this guy, Andre, has an idea that he can sell to people the idea of life coaching without being able to actually help them. That in essence, what he's basically selling them is the idea of selling that idea to other people. The reason why we're sort of going, well, it's like a cult, is I think they have convinced themselves of these pseudoscientific sort of ideas that you can change your reality just by wanting it to happen. And essentially what you should just do is just do whatever you want, regardless of the consequence, regardless of who you hurt. It doesn't matter. It's not reality. It's all just a game. It's all just a simulation. So they've used solipsism to create. Okay, well, I mean, left-handed Jedi. How does that fit with the bite model? That's fair. That's fair. I do notice at one point they were sort of, and I may not have shown the clip because I had a ton of them. They had a thing of don't hang around people that aren't willing to think the same way you are. Don't hang around people who have problems and are just bringing you down, right? That sort of thing. Okay, so there's definitely a so the bite model is behavior, information, thought, and emotion, right? We're aware that's the bite model. Okay, I did have to look it up to do that, but they regulate your actions and behaviors through strict rules, rewards, and punishments, limiting individual autonomy. Yeah, I mean, they basically are punishing people by being empathic, for instance, by that sort of laughing and putting them down. Information, examining the tactics to restricting members' access to outside their perspectives kind of thing. Well, I think it's more talking about the house. So it may not be a cult in the traditional sense, but it's certainly very cultish. Suppressing critical thinking and promoting conformity. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, definitely suppressing critical thinking. They definitely don't like people to think beyond intuition. They're absolutely jamming home. Think with intuition only. Only intuition. Emotion explores how manipulative organizations manipulate emotions, fostering dependency and loyalty through love bombing, guilt, and fear-based indoctrination. So behavior controllers, things like regulating an individual's physical reality, definitely doing some of that. Dictates who and home. Yeah, a lot of this stuff doesn't apply. I do admit that, absolutely. So do I think this is a cult or a scam? I think this is a scam, to be honest with you. I do. I think it's a scam that they've sort of convinced some people is absolutely true. That they can create reality with what they believe. So if they believe they are a millionaire, they are a millionaire. That's what I think. But, I have seen stuff people refer to this as a cult. I'm I think it has some elements of cultish behavior, but I don't think it's really a cult like in the traditional sense. But I absolutely think it is a scam. But I'm not doing this to sort of generally pick on these people. I don't think that Sam and Mandy are sort of the instigators of this. I think that it is this Andre person that started it, and he has convinced them to basically be callous and indifferent to others' suffering that they are in fact causing. Because as the case study Eleanor, she thinks she can create a different reality by just imagining it. And currently she's falling for the same things that she did with the FTX crypto. This is not a reliable way to build wealth. And, sort of putting in that she's now a financial analyst and sort of, yeah. Yeah, I guess this one was just something that I saw and started to investigate, and I just couldn't stop. It was just too much of weird stuff. But I think somewhere down the line, their business model is, when people start, so that the people that they've convinced, because they have gone on a retreat to Scotland with multiple people there who obviously paid for mentorship and retreat, when they run out of money and they haven't been able to convince other people, that's when it's all going to fall apart. And I can't see this going on for that much longer. I mean, if you don't have any methodology behind making wealth except convincing the next person down the line that you can make them wealth by teaching them how to do that with other people, that's going to end. It's unsustainable, because you will run out of gullible people. And at that point, the probably Andre and the Sam and Mandy are going to run away with money. Yeah. So it's kind of sad, and I feel really sorry for Eleanor, who's in Brazil, sort of trying anything she can to make money, because and she's desperate and vulnerable, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks that she's being preyed upon. But she's, if she goes down this route, she'll be preying on other people. All it makes is just predators and scam artists, and it's horrible. It's horrible. Yeah. I think that's about it. I did have other clips, but as I said, I went down a rabbit hole with this one, and I'm so glad you could join me, because this is horrible, absolutely horrible. And to laugh about homeless people and laugh about people with mental illness and laugh about all this stuff. These are young people. Oh, I'll show you one more, by the way. I've got one more for you, just to hammer this home. And I know you want to see more, so I'm a sucker for punishment. So I've got one more for you. Where is it? There we go.
Have you?
Whoops.
My fucking in the dark TikToks in my car with a random light on go pretty well. So I'm going to make another one about resisting pain. Pain is something that we turn away from. We resist it. We try to make it go away. We take ibuprofen, but we're missing out when we do those things. I went to this concert and I'm wearing shoes that are painful. I wore heels to like a metal show, and my feet were fucking throbbing the whole time. And I was resisting the pain. I was like, I want the pain to go away. I want the pain to go away. But eventually it didn't go away. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give in to the pain. I'm just going to feel the pain. And as I started to feel the pain, orgasmic sensations started to come over me. And I was like, oh my God, my feet hurt. The music is amazing. Holy shit. The pain made the experience totally different. And I'm like, my awareness is completely open now. So I just wanted to say this.
Bitch, you don't know what pain is. You're like, she thinks she understands pain because she was at a concert and her feet hurt. Yeah, and you know, considering that Mandy is really into psychedelics and she seems like she does have is on some kind of substance, I wouldn't be surprised if that has something to do with it, Kamikaze. I kind of, yeah, that is possible. But having sore feet from shoes is not pain. Okay, that's not acute pain. Try having a like tooth problem. That's fucking pain. You know, try having a your spine fluid taken. That's pain. She doesn't have a damn idea of what real pain is. She doesn't understand what it is. She's never experienced it. Your feet hurt, so I understand pain. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I've had that, Kamikaze. I've been in an emergency room, basically whimpering, like that amount of pain, like it is excruciating. And she thinks because she's had sore feet at a concert. This is what I'm talking about with the white privilege, right? This is the white privilege, that she has had a privileged life and she doesn't get it. She just doesn't understand it. And so, in order to facilitate her life, she's just taken to scamming people about how she can change their lives by getting them in on the con, in on the scam. Join the scam buddies that'll go round and tell people we can change your life by getting them in on the scam. It's all a scam. But I didn't show that to really thingo. Like, you know, one day she's going to experience real pain. You know, she's going to have a tooth issue. She's going to break a limb. She's going to have cancer. I hope not. But maybe one day she will actually experience what suffering actually is and realize, hey, maybe I was wrong, thinking it's a great experience. I hope that she doesn't have trauma, but maybe one day she will and stop laughing at people's trauma. This is just spoiled children, and it's disgusting the way they laugh at homeless people, they laugh at poor people, they laugh at anybody that doesn't have the privilege they do. So I wanted to show you this. These people are out there. Do not buy their bullshit. And it's really just to show what a lack of critical thinking and a lack of you know, this is what happens when you follow your intuitions, because that's what they're taught. Don't forget that. They're taught, don't think with your brain, think with your intuitions. If you feel like doing it, then do it. And that's how it's been set up. Don't think about this stuff we're telling you and think about it critically and rationally. Just use your intuition. Well, I want to be wealthy. My intuition says that it'll work, therefore it'll work. Don't do that. It's not worth it. But thank you very much for joining me. This has been a horrifying glimpse into the world of TikTok life coaches and mentorees and mentorships that are clearly scams, and people using quantum in order to flog bullshit, and people using the idea of solipsism and simulation theory in order to peddle bullshit. And this is the kind of thing, I mean, probably somebody should report them. I'm not in America. I don't even know how to do that. But avoid people like this. Please do. Please do. But thank you so much, everybody. It was great to see you. If you can give a like and subscribe and share, I'd really appreciate it. Don't feel obligated, but I would appreciate it a lot. I went really in deep for this one. I couldn't stop. It was really weird. Yeah, you're right, Cygnus. It was really weird and deep, and the more I found out, the more sort of horrified I was. And don't fall for these traps. Don't fall for these mental traps of, hey, the world isn't real, I can do whatever I want. There will be consequences down the line. If not legal consequences, consequences in your life. You are not an island. You have to interact with others. Boundaries are good because they can allow us to interact with others. At some point, you can't just say, I am the only person in the world, I'm the only person that matters. No, it's just not the way. But thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, and be kind to yourself. And that's true. Be kind to yourself and definitely appreciate yourself. That's one part of their advice that I agree with. Definitely appreciate yourself, but you need to appreciate others as well. And you need to be kind to others. Because if you want people to be kind to you, you have to be kind to others. It's reciprocity, and that's the thing that they've missed. So thank you, and take care wherever you are. And I'll see you in the next one.